Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow Time Riddle for more journeys through history's greatest stories. George Washington, the life of America's first leader. Welcome to Time Riddle. Today we take you on a journey through the remarkable life of George Washington, a man whose courage, leadership, and character helped shape a new nation. From humble beginnings to becoming the first president of the United States, this is the story of the real George Washington. A humble beginning. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, at Pope's Creek in Westmoreland County, Virginia. His father, Augustine Washington, was a planter and landowner, though not among the wealthiest in the colony. His mother, Mary Ball Washington, was strong-willed and deeply influential in George's early life. Tragedy struck early. When George was just 11 years old, his father died. Because of colonial laws of inheritance, much of the family estate went to his older half-brothers. George's formal education was limited. He never attended college, but he learned through hard work, observation, and determination. As a boy, he mastered horseback riding, hunting, fishing, and farming. These skills prepared him for the challenges of frontier life and leadership. Surveyor of the frontier. In his teens, Washington trained as a land surveyor, a respected profession in colonial Virginia. At just 17, he surveyed lands along the rugged frontier, often spending weeks in the wilderness. These experiences toughened him and gave him first-hand knowledge of the land and its people. At 20, Washington inherited Mount Vernon, a plantation overlooking the Potomac River, after the death of his half-brother Lawrence. Mount Vernon would remain his beloved home for the rest of his life. A young soldier in dangerous times. Washington's military career began in his early 20s, during the French and Indian War. In 1753, at age 21, he was sent on a dangerous mission: deliver a message to the French, demanding they leave British-claimed territory in the Ohio Valley. This journey took him through icy rivers, dense forests, and lands where he faced danger from hostile tribes and the harsh winter. In 1754, Washington led colonial forces in an attack that triggered a wider conflict. Later that year, his hastily built Fort Necessity fell to the French. Although a defeat, his courage was noted. Washington then served under British General Edward Braddock. During the disastrous campaign of 1755, Washington had 2 horses shot out from under him and 4 bullet holes in his coat, but he survived unharmed. His leadership and bravery in chaos became legendary. Planter, husband, and gentleman farmer. After the war, Washington returned to Mount Vernon. In 1759, he married Martha Custis, a wealthy widow. Together, they managed the estate and raised Martha's 2 children from her first marriage. Washington worked tirelessly to improve his farm. He shifted from tobacco to wheat, experimented with crop rotation, and built fisheries, mills, and workshops. Mount Vernon, however, depended on enslaved labor. Over the years, Washington's views on slavery evolved. By the end of his life, he became the only founding father to free all enslaved people he owned directly through his will. Toward revolution. As Britain imposed new taxes and laws on the colonies, Washington grew increasingly concerned. He believed deeply in self-government and saw measures like the Stamp Act and Townshend Acts as threats to colonial rights. Washington served in Virginia's House of Burgesses and supported boycotts of British goods. Though he hoped for peace, he prepared for war if necessary. Commander of the Continental Army. In 1775, after the first shots of the Revolution at Lexington and Concord, the Continental Congress chose Washington as commander-in-chief of the new Continental Army. He took command of an untrained, poorly equipped force. Early battles were hard, including defeats in New York, but Washington showed resilience. One of his most daring moments came on Christmas night, 1776, when he led his army across the icy Delaware River to surprise and capture Hessian forces at Trenton. Through brutal winters, most famously at Valley Forge, Washington kept his army together. He shared their hardships, worked to secure supplies, and welcomed European officers who helped train the troops. In 1781, with help from the French, Washington trapped British General Cornwallis at Yorktown. The British surrender there effectively ended the war. The general who walked away. Washington again amazed the world by giving up power. In December 1783, he resigned his commission before Congress, returning to Mount Vernon. King George III reportedly said, "If he does that, he will be the greatest man in the world." Father of his country, the first president, Washington hoped to enjoy quiet life at Mount Vernon, but the country needed him. In 1787, he presided over the Constitutional Convention. 2 years later, he was unanimously elected the first president of the United States. As president, Washington set lasting examples. He created a cabinet of advisors, he served only 2 terms, refusing to hold office for life, he promoted unity and kept the young nation out of foreign wars. Washington faced internal challenges, political divisions between Hamilton and Jefferson, the Whiskey Rebellion, and debates over the economy, but he always put the nation's future first. In his farewell address, Washington warned against political parties and entangling alliances abroad, advice still debated today. Final years and death. After his presidency, Washington returned to Mount Vernon. In December 1799, after riding through cold, wet weather, he fell ill. Within days, his condition worsened, likely from a throat infection, and he passed away on December 14, 1799. The nation mourned, bells tolled, cities held memorials, and eulogies praised the man who gave everything to build a free nation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow Time Riddle for more journeys through history's greatest stories.